Have you ever felt that your kindness, once your strength, has turned into your vulnerability? Does it seem that others, sensing your goodwill, begin to exploit it, leaving you feeling used, drained, and perhaps even questioning your own worth? If so, you're not alone. In our pursuit of compassion, we often find ourselves inadvertently giving others the power to dictate our emotional well-being. But what if there were a way to reclaim this power, to ground your kindness in strength rather than sacrifice? Today, we'll explore 7 Stoic lessons to prevent others from taking advantage of your kindness. These principles, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, will guide you toward a life where kindness no longer comes at the expense of self-respect. By the end, you'll discover that true kindness, when aligned with boundaries and self-awareness, creates a life of authentic strength and fulfillment. So, stay with me as we embark on this journey toward empowered kindness. Together, we'll unlock the final lesson, one that will show you how to bring this wisdom full circle and create balanced, meaningful relationships that respect both yourself and others. Are you ready to explore the wisdom of Stoicism and fortify your kindness with strength? Let's begin. 1. Cultivating self-awareness. Understanding oneself is the bedrock of not being exploited. How well do you know your own limits, values, and needs? The Stoics believe that self-awareness is the foundation of a strong, resilient mind, one that cannot be swayed by the whims of others. If you find yourself constantly at the mercy of others' demands, perhaps it is time to look within and ask, am I aware of who I am and what I truly need? Self-awareness empowers you to understand the true motivations behind your actions. When you extend kindness, is it from a place of strength or from a need for validation? By becoming aware of your internal motives, you prevent others from exploiting your natural inclination to help. Remember, kindness rooted in self-knowledge does not seek approval. It offers compassion freely, knowing that it's a gift, not an obligation. To practice self-awareness, spend time regularly examining your own thoughts and actions. Consider moments when your kindness has led you to feel used. Ask yourself, what was my intention in helping? Was I acting out of a desire to please or from a place of genuine compassion? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus teaches us to differentiate between what is within our control and what is not. Your intentions and boundaries are within your control. Others' reactions are not. One powerful exercise for cultivating self-awareness is regular reflection. Take time each day to assess how you felt in various interactions. Note what made you feel respected and what left you feeling exploited. This act of reflection is not merely to criticize oneself, but to observe and learn. Think of it as a form of navigation, like a ship charting its course by the stars. The better you understand your own compass, the less likely you are to let external influences pull you off course. Another Stoic practice that fosters self-awareness is spending time in solitude. By retreating from the noise of the world, you give yourself space to reconnect with your inner self. Marcus Aurelius often advised seeking out these quiet moments, describing them as a refuge from the chaos of life. He wrote, "Nowhere can a person find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." When was the last time you paused, even for a few moments, to truly listen to what your soul needs? In addition to solitude, seeking honest feedback from trusted individuals can further illuminate blind spots in your self-perception. Sometimes, we are unaware of patterns in our own behavior, particularly when it comes to being overly accommodating. Ask those you trust to provide insight into your actions, especially those that stem from kindness. Are there moments when your kindness appears to invite exploitation? Honest conversations about these tendencies can reveal patterns you may not see. Finally, consider seeking guidance from mentors, therapists, or coaches who can provide a neutral perspective. While friends and family may unintentionally project their own biases, a professional perspective offers clear and unbiased insight, helping you recognize the subtle ways in which you might compromise your values to please others. Self-awareness is an ongoing journey, a practice of understanding your emotions, thoughts, and motivations in an honest light. In cultivating this awareness, you build a stronger foundation for setting boundaries and acting with intentionality. Remember, you are not a lighthouse for every lost ship at sea. You are a traveler on your own path. By knowing yourself, you become a beacon for those who respect you, not a refuge for those who seek to use you. 2. Establishing boundaries. Once you know yourself, the next essential step in Stoic wisdom is to establish boundaries. Boundaries, often misunderstood as barriers, are not meant to separate you from others, but to honor your own well-being and define the extent of your generosity. Without boundaries, your kindness, no matter how genuine, becomes vulnerable to exploitation. Do you feel guilt when saying no? Do you fear that setting limits will make you appear unkind or selfish? Stoicism teaches us that boundaries are essential for a balanced life. They act as guides, helping you navigate between external demands and your inner needs. When you set boundaries, you are not rejecting others. You are respecting both your energy and theirs. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How often do we imagine that others will be hurt by our boundaries, when in truth, they're simply clarifying our limits? Many of us are raised to believe that saying no is impolite or inconsiderate, yet each time we agree to something against our will, we build resentment within ourselves. True kindness does not require endless sacrifice. It requires clear, compassionate boundaries. A boundary is not a wall. It is like the horizon, defining where you end and others begin. Without such limits, the demands of others, however well-intentioned, will consume your time, energy, and peace. When you agree to things that are not aligned with your values, you risk losing sight of your own path, becoming a passenger on someone else's journey. Stoicism encourages us to live according to our principles, unaffected by the shifting opinions of others. Establishing boundaries allows us to be grounded, making choices that reflect our true selves rather than the expectations of others. Imagine your life as a garden. If there are no walls, anything, anyone can wander in. Without boundaries, the flowers you plant, the fruits of your labor, are exposed to every passerby who might carelessly trample what you've cultivated. Setting boundaries doesn't mean shutting people out. It means creating a space where your kindness can flourish without being exploited. When you set boundaries, remember they may not be met with enthusiasm by everyone, especially by those accustomed to your constant availability. This is where your self-awareness and resilience are put to the test. How often have you felt guilty for refusing someone? Does their disappointment weigh on you more than your own comfort? Recognize that guilt is a natural response, but not a reason to sacrifice your well-being. The practice of saying no is an ultimate act of self-care and respect for your own time and energy. Setting boundaries is an ongoing process, one that you must revisit as you grow and change. The boundaries that protected you a year ago may need adjusting today. This fluidity is not inconsistency. It's a reflection of your evolving needs. Stoicism teaches that life is in a constant state of change, and just as the natural world adapts to survive, so must our personal boundaries shift to protect our well-being. Embrace this change as a natural part of your journey. Learning to say no can feel daunting, especially if you're used to being agreeable. But consider, what are you sacrificing when you say yes to everyone? Are you trading your peace of mind for the comfort of others? The Stoics would ask, is this in my control? Yes, your ability to choose is in your control. When you set a boundary, You assert this control, guiding your life rather than letting it be dictated by the needs and whims of others. Setting boundaries also sets an example for those around you. By honoring your own needs, you indirectly give others permission to honor theirs. Imagine the ripple effect this could have in your relationships, where each person feels respected and valued, not because they are constantly giving, but because they are engaging from a place of authenticity and choice. As you explore and implement boundaries, remind yourself you are not forsaking kindness, but empowering it. Kindness without boundaries is like a river without banks, spilling over until it loses its form and purpose. Boundaries give kindness its shape, enabling you to give freely without the fear of being drained. So practice saying no with grace. Recognize that you can be kind and generous even as you protect your own energy. In this journey of self-discovery, let your boundaries be a testament to your strength and clarity. They serve as markers, guiding others toward a mutual respect for your space and time. Remember, kindness born of strength and self-respect is far more sustainable and meaningful than kindness born of obligation. Now, with a foundation of self-awareness and the strength of clear boundaries, let us proceed to the next essential lesson: accepting imperfection in both yourself and others. 3. Accepting imperfection. In a world that often equates kindness with self-sacrifice, it's easy to feel as though being good enough means giving endlessly. But striving for this ideal is an illusion, a trap that makes you vulnerable to those who might take advantage of your kindness. Have you found yourself feeling exhausted or unappreciated, wondering if you should be doing even more to meet others' needs? Stoicism teaches us that life's challenges often arise from our refusal to accept the limits of human nature, our own and that of others. In this lesson, we'll see how embracing imperfection frees us from the compulsion to overextend ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and renowned Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Perfection of character is this: to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, and without pretense." What does this mean in the context of kindness? It reminds us that true virtue lies not in exhausting ourselves to meet impossible standards, but in approaching life calmly, accepting both our flaws and the imperfections of others. When you release the need to be perfect, you allow kindness to emerge naturally, without pressure or resentment. Are you often caught in the cycle of trying to fix everything around you? Perfectionism can make us vulnerable, leading us to believe that if we just try harder, give more, or adapt endlessly, things will change. But Stoicism teaches us that while we may control our own actions, we cannot control others' reactions or circumstances. A relentless drive for perfection often results in people-pleasing, where our self-worth hinges on the approval of others. In this sense, seeking perfection weakens us, making it easy for others to manipulate our goodwill. By embracing imperfection, you're not just accepting that things may go wrong, you're giving yourself permission to prioritize your own well-being. The Stoics remind us that the world is full of events beyond our control, and no matter how hard we strive, we cannot make everyone appreciate or reciprocate our kindness. Just as you accept your own flaws, accept that others may misunderstand, misuse, or even ignore your efforts. Release yourself from the expectation that kindness guarantees reward. In doing so, you'll find a peace that strengthens rather than drains your compassion. An essential part of accepting imperfection is recognizing your right to make mistakes, to say no, and to put your needs first. This is not selfishness. It's an acknowledgement of your humanity. Every time you feel the urge to say yes out of guilt, ask yourself, is this act in line with my values? Will this bring peace to my mind? Or will it leave me feeling depleted? Such questions reveal whether your kindness stems from a place of genuine care or from a need to prove yourself. Let go of the idea that saying no diminishes your kindness. Stoicism encourages us to prioritize inner tranquility over external validation. By accepting your limits, you demonstrate a strength that attracts more meaningful relationships. True friends and connections understand that kindness given freely, without expectation, is far more precious than kindness driven by the desire to be liked or accepted. Perfectionism creates dependency. It makes you think that your worth is conditional upon others' satisfaction. But authentic kindness, tempered by self-acceptance, creates independence and resilience. This lesson also extends to how you view others. The Stoics believed that everyone has their own strengths, flaws, and journey. By holding others to a standard of perfection, we set ourselves up for disappointment and may even fall into resentment when they don't meet our expectations. When you release yourself from this need for perfection, you open the door to genuine relationships built on acceptance rather than idealism. Imperfect people, including yourself, can engage with each other more honestly and without fear of judgment. Imagine the liberation in knowing you don't have to be everything to everyone. Accepting imperfection means understanding that your role is not to carry every burden, fix every problem, or fulfill every need. Your worth is not diminished by others' inability to appreciate it, nor by your decision to take a step back. In fact, this acceptance makes your kindness more powerful as it emerges from a place of wholeness rather than from striving. As we practice this acceptance, we begin to see the beauty in imperfection. Life is not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be embraced. The Stoic approach reminds us that our experiences, both positive and challenging, shape our character. By learning from our missteps and from the disappointments that others may bring, we grow stronger and wiser. This wisdom, in turn, allows us to give kindness from a place of strength rather than need. Remember, true kindness is not about achieving an unattainable standard. It's about showing up as you are, embracing your humanity. By doing so, you transform kindness from an obligation into an authentic expression of who you are. Each act of kindness, grounded in self-acceptance, becomes a conscious choice rather than a reflex driven by guilt or fear. Accepting imperfection, therefore, empowers you to live with peace, letting go of the pressure to please everyone and focusing instead on those who genuinely value your presence. With this acceptance firmly in place, we're prepared to move into the next lesson, cultivating a culture of healthy boundaries. These boundaries, fortified by self-awareness and an understanding of our imperfections, serve as the walls of a garden where kindness can truly thrive. 4. Fostering a culture of healthy boundaries. Imagine your inner world, a blend of your aspirations, emotions, and values, as a garden you've carefully cultivated. The Stoics encourage us to guard this space with care, maintaining boundaries that protect our peace while allowing kindness to flourish. In this context, boundaries are not barriers, but the walls of a sanctuary where your kindness can thrive without exploitation. Have you ever considered that by allowing everyone access to your inner garden, you risk losing the beauty of what you've nurtured within? Establishing a culture of healthy boundaries invites others to understand your limits and respect your space. Boundaries clarify expectations, not only for yourself, but also for those around you, encouraging mutual respect. Think of these boundaries as the framework that defines your relationships, guiding interactions that are enriching rather than draining. When you say no to certain demands, you're saying yes to protecting the energy needed to nurture meaningful relationships and pursuits. A boundary culture, however, is not about distancing yourself from others. It's about creating a place where only those who respect your kindness and reciprocate your values are invited into closer connection. By clearly expressing what you're willing to tolerate, you're not rejecting others, but rather guiding them toward interactions that are mutually beneficial. This is what Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, refers to as living in harmony with nature, where each relationship is aligned with respect and understanding. Some may feel challenged by your boundaries, especially those who are used to your constant availability. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control others' reactions, only our responses. So, if setting boundaries initially brings resistance, remember that it's a natural part of creating this culture of respect. Instead of being swayed by others' disappointment or disapproval, consider, what brings you inner peace? Are you being true to your values, or are you conceding out of fear? This boundary culture is not static. As you grow, so too will your boundaries evolve. Think of the walls of your garden as adaptable structures that respond to the shifting seasons of your life. What served you in your early years might no longer be sufficient or appropriate now. Adjusting boundaries is not inconsistency. It's an act of self-respect. Like a gardener, you tend to your life's garden with attention, pruning where needed to allow new growth. As you cultivate this culture of boundaries, know that it requires ongoing reflection and practice. There may be moments of discomfort, especially as you transition from saying yes out of habit to asserting no out of respect. This shift not only empowers you, but also elevates your kindness, enabling it to be a source of genuine connection rather than a vessel for exploitation. Your relationships, grounded in this culture, become reciprocal and balanced, allowing you to give freely without the fear of being depleted. In fostering this culture of healthy boundaries, you're creating a sanctuary where kindness can be extended wisely. You're transforming your relationships into spaces of mutual respect and meaningful exchange. And just as your inner garden needs sunlight and protection to bloom, so too does your kindness need the clarity of boundaries to remain strong and unwavering. With your inner sanctuary fortified, let's now explore the next lesson in our journey: practicing conscious reciprocity, a principle that enhances the quality of your connections by balancing giving and receiving. 5. Practicing conscious reciprocity. In a world where kindness often flows one way, Stoicism invites us to consider the balance of our relationships through the principle of conscious reciprocity. This practice teaches us that kindness is not a mere act of giving, but an ongoing exchange of mutual respect and support. When you think about your relationships, do you feel the balance of giving and receiving is fair? Or do you find yourself constantly giving, with little coming back? Stoicism sees reciprocity not as an expectation, but as an awareness. By acknowledging and fostering relationships where kindness flows in both directions, you create a circle of goodwill that strengthens connections. Have you ever experienced a moment where you felt drained, wondering if your kindness was being appreciated? This feeling often arises when reciprocity is absent. Conscious reciprocity enables you to cultivate relationships where both parties respect and value each other's time, energy, and kindness. Practicing conscious reciprocity is not about keeping score. Instead, it's about recognizing the balance in your relationships. Marcus Aurelius often spoke of the interconnectedness of all beings. He understood that true kindness is an exchange, a bond that uplifts both the giver and the receiver. Reflecting on this, we can see that relationships thrive when they're nurtured by mutual support. When you give, is there an openness to receiving as well? Or do you feel an unspoken pressure to give endlessly without expecting anything in return? In this spirit of reciprocity, it's important to consider your own willingness to receive kindness. Many people find themselves reluctant to accept help, fearing it might burden others or show weakness. Yet, by allowing others to give, you're also offering them a chance to express their kindness. Conscious reciprocity isn't about needing help all the time, but about being open to receiving it when genuinely needed, creating a cycle that strengthens your connections rather than depleting them. To implement conscious reciprocity, take time to reflect on your closest relationships. Are they balanced, or do you feel that kindness only flows one way? Remember, Stoicism teaches that while kindness can be extended to everyone, true intimacy and closeness should be reserved for those who share and respect your values. This does not mean ending relationships that aren't immediately balanced, but it does mean approaching them with an awareness of how much you're willing to give without depleting yourself. By cultivating relationships based on reciprocity, you invite a community of individuals who genuinely appreciate and support you. Conscious reciprocity is like a lighthouse, guiding people who respect your kindness toward you, while gently repelling those who only wish to take advantage. Think of it as a filtering process, where your openness to mutual kindness attracts others who value authentic connections, forming a circle of trust and respect. As you practice this principle, you'll begin to notice a shift in your relationships. Those who truly value your kindness will reciprocate it in meaningful ways. Those who are unwilling to offer the same will naturally drift away, freeing up your energy for those who genuinely support your growth and well-being. Practicing conscious reciprocity not only enriches your life, but also affirms the value of your kindness, creating a foundation of respect and dignity in every relationship. Now, with a deeper understanding of balanced giving and receiving, we can approach the final lessons with renewed strength. As we move forward, our next focus will be on empowered authenticity, a concept that transforms your kindness from a vulnerability into a source of resilience and purpose. 6. Empowered authenticity. One of the most transformative Stoic principles is the practice of empowered authenticity. This concept goes beyond simply being yourself. It's about acting in harmony with your values and embracing your kindness as a strength rather than a vulnerability. When you are authentically yourself, without masks or facades, you become resistant to manipulation. Have you ever felt pressure to mold your kindness to fit others' expectations, or to act in ways that don't align with who you truly are, just to keep peace or gain approval? Empowered authenticity is a mindset in which kindness is rooted in truth. You offer it not to earn acceptance, but because it aligns with your values and sense of purpose. The Stoics would argue that true strength comes from this congruence between inner values and outward actions. Living with authenticity means you are no longer driven by the need for external validation, nor do you see yourself through the lens of others' opinions. Instead, you embody a calm confidence, expressing kindness freely but discerningly. Consider how much energy we waste trying to be liked, trying to meet expectations that aren't our own. When you align your actions with your core beliefs, you reclaim this energy. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Authenticity is a form of courage. By being true to yourself, you free yourself from the fears of rejection or disapproval. Your kindness becomes an extension of your values rather than a tool for gaining acceptance. Imagine the freedom in showing kindness without concern for how it might be perceived, simply because it's who you are. Empowered authenticity allows you to navigate relationships with clarity. Rather than being swayed by others' demands, you choose how and when to extend kindness. In being authentic, you naturally repel those who might seek to exploit you, while attracting those who respect and resonate with your values. Reflect on the relationships in your life. Are they a reflection of your true self, or do they require you to compromise parts of who you are? Authenticity can be a filter, guiding you toward relationships that are grounded in respect and mutual understanding. When you practice authenticity, you develop the strength to set boundaries and make clear requests. The Stoics remind us that life is best lived in harmony with our nature, free from pretense or conformity. Are you living by your principles, or are you accommodating others at the expense of your own peace? By embracing empowered authenticity, you liberate yourself from this dilemma, acting not from a need to fit in, but from a desire to live honestly and fully. Authenticity also strengthens resilience. When you are true to yourself, you become less susceptible to others' judgments and expectations. You gain clarity, knowing that your worth is not determined by how well you meet external demands, but by how faithfully you adhere to your values. Those who have used your kindness to their advantage may no longer find it easy to do so, as you are now acting with clear intention and integrity. Imagine your authenticity as a beacon. It lights the path for those who respect you and casts away those who would seek only to take. This doesn't mean shutting out people. Rather, it means creating relationships where your kindness is appreciated rather than exploited. Living with empowered authenticity is the ultimate protection for your kindness, transforming it from a possible weakness into a source of strength and dignity. As we prepare to explore the final lesson, think about what authenticity means to you. Are there moments when you feel compelled to act against your values for the sake of peace? How might life change if you chose to express kindness from a place of empowered authenticity, grounded in your own truth? Now, let's consider the final pillar of resilience, learning to ask for help. A lesson that emphasizes the interconnectedness that Stoicism so deeply values. 7. Learning to ask for help. In our final lesson, we confront a practice that can be surprisingly difficult for many kind-hearted people: the act of asking for help. Stoicism teaches that we are all interconnected, part of a broader human community, and that true strength lies in acknowledging this unity. Yet when was the last time you felt comfortable seeking help without feeling like a burden? Asking for support is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of courage, a recognition of shared humanity, and an essential step in balancing kindness. For those who give generously, asking for help can feel unnatural, as though it goes against the grain of kindness. But Stoicism encourages us to embrace both giving and receiving as equal parts of a balanced life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Don't be ashamed to need help. Like a soldier storming a wall, you have a mission to accomplish. And if you've been wounded and need a comrade to pull you up, so what?" This perspective urges us to see support as an integral part of resilience. If you're someone who is always there for others, have you considered that by allowing others to help you, you're creating a deeper connection? When you ask for help, you're not only relieving your own burdens, you're giving others the opportunity to demonstrate their care and kindness. This exchange builds trust and fosters authentic bonds. Think of a time when you helped someone. How did that experience strengthen your relationship? Allowing yourself to receive help has the same effect, forging stronger ties rooted in mutual respect. Many people hesitate to ask for help because they fear imposing or appearing weak. But in the Stoic view, our human connections are part of the natural order. Just as the earth supports the growth of trees and the rivers nourish life, we are meant to support each other. By receiving help, you honor this interconnectedness. Remember, strength is not in the refusal of assistance, but in recognizing when it is needed. Allow yourself to be part of this cycle of giving and receiving, knowing that kindness flows in both directions. To make asking for help easier, begin by reframing how you see it. Recognize that it's not a one-way street, but a balanced exchange. Today you might ask for support, and tomorrow you may offer it. This cycle of reciprocity doesn't diminish your strength, it fortifies it. When you learn to ask for help, you break free from the burden of handling everything alone, inviting a sense of community and support into your life. Asking for help also helps prevent burnout, allowing you to maintain the energy to be genuinely kind. It's easy to become overwhelmed if you're constantly giving without pause, but by receiving assistance when needed, you create space to recharge. This ensures that your kindness remains authentic and sustainable, not a forced response driven by exhaustion. Reflect on this. When you ask for help, are you not allowing others to feel the same joy and fulfillment that you experience when you offer support? In this way, asking for help is an act of kindness in itself, a chance to strengthen relationships and build a reliable support network. The Stoics teach us to accept life's challenges with grace and humility, and this includes the challenge of allowing ourselves to lean on others when necessary. So, the next time you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, remember that it's not only okay to ask for help, it's a necessary part of living with kindness and strength. By inviting others into your journey, you cultivate relationships that are based on shared compassion and resilience, nurturing a cycle of support that uplifts everyone involved. Together, we have explored 7 essential lessons that draw from the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, each offering a path to strengthen and protect your kindness. By cultivating self-awareness, establishing boundaries, accepting imperfection, fostering healthy relationships, practicing reciprocity, embracing authenticity, and learning to ask for help, you're building a life where kindness is not a vulnerability, but a powerful force. These lessons remind us that kindness, when balanced with self-respect, becomes an asset in life, attracting fulfilling and meaningful relationships. Remember, kindness is not about endless giving or self-sacrifice. It's about choosing to live with integrity, respect, and authenticity. If these lessons have resonated with you, I invite you to reflect on how they might shape your own life. Leave a comment sharing a moment when you learned to balance kindness with self-respect, or any insights you've gained from the Stoic principles we've explored today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more on Stoicism and empowered living, and share it with anyone who may find strength in these timeless teachings. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May these Stoic lessons guide you toward a life of meaningful kindness, inner peace, and empowered strength.